Imagine moving into a new boarding house and, on your very first night, receiving a WhatsApp message from an unknown number that says, "Don't sleep facing the wardrobe." What would you do? Laugh it off, or obey it? At Imitate boarding house, anyone who ignores that warning is never seen again after sunrise. Rain poured heavily as Raka arrived at an old boarding house called imitate boarding house. The building stood at the end of a narrow alley, surrounded by towering trees that kept the place shrouded in darkness even before sunset. The landlady, an elderly woman named Mrs. Ratty, greeted him with a faint smile. "There's only one room left. Room 13. Raka smiled back. To him, the number 13 was nothing more than an old superstition. The room was simple. It had an iron bed, a study desk, an old ceiling fan, and a large dark brown wooden wardrobe. The wardrobe looked far older than everything else in the room. Its surface was covered with deep scratches that resembled claw marks. As Raka reached for the handle, Mrs. Ratty suddenly spoke in a quiet voice. "Never open that wardrobe after midnight." Raka assumed she was just trying to scare the new tenant. Night fell. Just after he finished unpacking, his phone vibrated. Unknown number. "Welcome to room 13. A few seconds later, another message appeared. "Don't sleep facing the wardrobe." There was no profile picture. No name. Raka replied. "Who is this?" The message showed 2 gray check marks. It was never read. He tried calling the number. It was unreachable. Raka chuckled. The previous tenant must be pulling a prank. He deliberately positioned his bed so it faced the wardrobe. "If there's really a ghost in here, we might as well meet." Exactly at midnight. Bang! A loud crash came from inside the wardrobe. Raka woke up instantly. Silence. Then. Knock. 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 Someone was knocking from inside. His body stiffened. He convinced himself it had to be a rat. But then the knocking stopped. A weak female voice whispered. "Let me out." Raka froze. The voice sounded exhausted, as though it had been trapped for years. "Please, let me out." Then. Creak. The wardrobe door slowly opened by itself. It had been locked only moments earlier. A pale hand with unnaturally long fingernails emerged through the narrow gap. Its fingers slowly searched across the floor. As if looking for something. Raka pulled the blanket over his head. He squeezed his eyes shut. But curiosity got the better of him. He peeked. A woman with long black hair was now standing in front of the wardrobe. Her face was completely hidden beneath her tangled hair. She wore a filthy white dress stained with dark patches. The most horrifying part. She wasn't walking. She was floating toward the bed. With every inch she moved closer. The temperature in the room dropped. Raka's breath turned into mist. His phone vibrated again. Another message from the same unknown number. "Don't look at her face." Raka shut his eyes tightly. But fear forced him to glance again. She was now only inches away. Slowly. Her hair parted. There were no eyes. Only 2 dark, empty holes leaking thick black liquid. Her mouth stretched into an impossibly wide smile. "Why? Did you look at me?" Raka screamed. The next morning. Mrs. Ratty knocked on room 13. No answer. She unlocked the door. The room was empty. Everything Raka owned was still there. His backpack. His laptop. His wallet. His phone. But Rocca himself had vanished. The bed still faced the wardrobe. The police investigated the case. There were no signs of forced entry. No evidence of kidnapping. The CCTV footage showed something impossible. Nobody entered. Nobody left. But at exactly 3:13 a.m., a dark shadow drifted into the wardrobe. A second shadow followed. Then, nothing. The case remained unsolved. Rocca was officially declared missing. For nearly 2 years, room 13 remained vacant. No one dared rent it. Until one day, a college student named Demas came looking for an affordable room. Despite Mrs. Radia's warning, he insisted on taking room 13. That night, his phone buzzed. Unknown number. Welcome. A second message arrived. Don't sleep facing the wardrobe. Demas laughed. Just like Rocca had. He took a screenshot of the message and uploaded it to social media. Caption: The boarding house admin has a great sense of humor. Hundreds of people laughed. Nobody believed it. At exactly 1:47 a.m., the lights went out. The fan stopped spinning. The room became freezing cold. The wardrobe began to shake violently. Demas started recording everything. The video captured the wardrobe door opening on its own. Then, someone stepped out. Suddenly, the footage filled with static. Demas' trembling voice could still be heard. Who are you? A woman's voice answered softly. Move over, just a little. The recording ended. The next morning, Demas had disappeared. Only his phone remained. Digital forensic experts recovered the corrupted video. The final frame showed something horrifying. Demas was still lying on his bed. But his reflection was standing inside the wardrobe. Even though the wardrobe doors were tightly shut. The video went viral. Many claimed it was fake. Until professional digital analysts confirmed. There was absolutely no evidence of editing. After that incident, room 13 was permanently sealed. The wardrobe was nailed shut. The walls around it were reinforced with concrete. Nobody was ever allowed inside again. Years later, Melitai boarding house was demolished to make way for a row of shops. When construction workers finally broke through the walls of room 13, the old wardrobe was still standing. Completely untouched. It should have been destroyed with the building. One worker pulled open its doors. Inside, there were no shelves. No clothes. Only a long, endless hallway swallowed by darkness. From deep within came the whispers of dozens of voices. Please. Don't close the door. The workers fled in terror. The following day, the construction foreman disappeared without a trace. The project was abandoned. To this day, the land remains empty. Strangely, that mysterious WhatsApp number is still active. Anyone who dares visit the abandoned site at midnight receives a message at exactly 11:59 p.m. Welcome to room 13. Moments later, another message follows. Don't sleep facing the wardrobe. The most terrifying part. The message is always sent from the phone number belonging to the last person who disappeared. And if, one night, your phone vibrates with that same warning, never try to find out who sent it. Because the next sender may be your own number.